All right. And we're live. Here we are. Happy Mondays, everyone.
Happy Monday.
What are we talking about today? So we're talking about, I guess, schooling,
Yes.
education,
Yep.
mindset. It's all one big topic. So we've been talking to lots of students, people that have graduated hair school, people that are in the middle of hair school, people that are at the very beginning, people that are looking to get into the field even, people that are looking to, you just spoke with someone a few weeks back that is, I forget what she does. She's in a completely unrelated field.
She is. She's leaving her field she wants to do hair. She's decided.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And so she came in and you spoke with her. We had a chance to chat with her and give her some advice and just what's the quickest path and what's that look like?
Yeah. And in my opinion, sort of, I guess the best choices for now, right? She was looking for all of that.
Yeah. So you have an apprentice. I think that was one of the options, but
she's like the fifth person that's reached out in a very short period of time. They're like, are you apprenticing still? And right now in the state of New Hampshire, you can only apprentice one person at a time. So, it's hard because it's not something that people offer a lot in this state. If any, I don't know anyone else that offers it, to be honest. And there's a lot of people looking for it for all different reasons. But I am only
You had another place refer somebody to you and you were like, I told you I have an apprentice, which means I can't take this person on.
I'm only one person and it takes a good 18 months or so to get through the program. So you're just limited on what I'm limited on what I can do. Right. So, which is unfortunate.
Yeah. And it's 3,000 hours for an apprenticeship. So it's not like you can be like, just wait. I mean, depending on where you are, like if you were close to the end with Emma, you could, but you're not close to the end with Emma.
We're just getting started. So,
all right. I have a couple of, or three thoughts that are really one thought. So it's like three phases, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
That I was thinking about the other day that I see. And I want to use the word mostly because this will apply to most. There's always going to be people that are the opposite. So coming out of school, what I've noticed is people mostly have zero confidence.
Yes. That's been an eye-opener to me.
So I think that's something that needs to be addressed somewhere at some level, and if not at every level.
Yeah. So
I don't know if the schools can do something about that. People are working on clients at schools.
Yep.
Eventually, right? I mean, my barbering school was day one, so that broke that ice.
So I think the difference between like your barbering school and cosmetology school is there's so many different aspects to what they're learning. Like you're learning a bunch of haircuts, right? So it's haircuts. And those are all different too, don't get me wrong. But school now has become so broadened. Is that a word?
Sure.
There's so many subjects, right? So what you're saying, like there's nails and there's perms and there's color and there's haircuts and there's updos and I think there's makeup and then there's lashes and there's skin. So they're getting mini little parts of that, and it becomes difficult if you're going to a salon and most of it's coloring and cutting. They're just not doing enough of that in school to generally have enough confidence coming into a salon.
So like there has to be, we don't have notes on this stuff. So if you're listening and you're like, wow, these guys are rusty. Well, a little bit. It took us forever to come up with even what we're going to talk about today.
I think it's unfortunate. Like schools, they have to live by a certain standard. It's not like an apprenticeship. Like they have to do these certain things. They have rules they have to meet. In an apprenticeship, like what I do, I'm allowed complete creative freedom. I have a few rules I have to follow, but I'm able to tailor my program to the individual and work for their strengths and their weaknesses and bring it full circle.
It's almost like
school, you can't do that.
It's almost like I don't know that if this is any sort of solution. It just popped in my head just now, but it's almost like if schools could act like, in high school or college, you can pick your courses.
Yeah, we've talked about this.
Oh, we have?
Not on a podcast. I think just like personally, like just
because if you're
like a path program,
if you have 1,500 hours, that's what it is currently, right? So you have 1,500 hours here in New Hampshire to to go through Cosmo School. It's Cosmo School? Hair school? All right. Cosmo School, right? And you have no intention on doing nails, whatever couple hundred hours you've spent on nails is sort of wasted time.
I would agree.
Now you have to do it for the board, though.
Right. But I mean, it's like paint a hand. Like anybody could do that.
No, yeah, I get it. I just don't know how they, like, I guess they're testing. You would still have to learn that for testing, or...
Yeah,
I don't know. Maybe the whole system needs to be revamped. We've talked about licensure in the past.
Yes, I agree completely. But
now, on the flip side of the people coming out of school with zero confidence are you know-it-alls out there.
Right.
Don't do that. You don't know much.
Especially don't do it. I've heard people say stuff and I'm like, I've been doing this for 25 years and I don't even talk like that.
Right, yeah.
Like,
that's,
what the heck?
That fake confidence stuff, don't
I'm like, whew.
Don't come at us with that.
It's such a turnoff too, because especially as an educator, I'm like, you don't think I have anything like to offer to you? And I have a lot, actually.
Yeah,
it's just kind of crazy.
I think that's one of those things that people are like, when you go in for an interview, you know, or when you're talking to another professional, like, show confidence.
Yeah. Fake it till you make it, which there's something to be said for some of that, but also show that you're genuine and show like who you are, because you have nothing to lose. Like, if you don't get hired at that salon, like, it's not the salon for you. Like, you should show up as who you are. Be true to yourself. That sounds so cheesy, but it's so true. I also want to touch something on what we were talking about before.
Go for it.
Because
I have my couple of notes in order, so when my brain inevitably forgets what I'm going to say. So go nuts.
So those of you coming out of school, and I have heard this so much recently, and for a while I was just like, yeah, you're right. But I'm going to tell you right now, when you come out of school and you say like, school taught me nothing, I am going to call bullshit. Because when you started school, you knew nothing. And when you graduated school, you knew a hell of a lot more than when you started. So stop blaming school for not teaching you enough. Because like when I teach my classes, mathematically, I tell people as I'm teaching them, you're going to retain about 30%. That's just real life. So I want you to, while I'm speaking, if something like really, really resonates with you, remember that. Ignore all the rest of it. Like, pay attention to the stuff that you want to take out of my class, and that's the stuff that you will retain. So when you come out of hair school, you've retained 30%. That's not a lot, 30% of what you learned, because that's all your brain can handle. That's not the school's fault. It's not your fault in that sense, because that's just real life. So when you think about it that way, you have a lot of learning to do coming out of school, and it's of nobody's fault. The point is when you're in school, absorb all you can, focus on the stuff that you want to learn, and retain the 30% of the stuff that's maybe where you think you want to specialize in or really take your career to. And then it's your job when you get out of school to either find a mentor to educate you, find a salon that can educate you, take classes. Like, there's a lot of stuff out there that's really inexpensive, but that's on you. So stop blaming the school for what they didn't do, because they're pretty successful and they're there to teach you as much as they can, set you up for the test, but it's really on you to take that next level. And I think the people that don't, well, then this might not just be the career for you.
Yeah. So
that was very long-winded.
That's okay. No, it was good. I liked it. I hit mute and just let you roll with it.
Thanks.
So the people that come out and they're like, they say it in a way that every other person says it. They're like, well, school only set you up to take a test. And I'm like, this is getting ingrained from somewhere.
Right.
This negativity.
Exactly.
Because here's what I do know. When you are when I was in school, they gave us so much extra stuff that we could choose to work on. They didn't force any of it. They forced what they had to force, like certain things, but working on how to hold a razor.
Yeah.
Working on the strokes of using a razor, working on holding your scissors and opening and closing them so you don't hurt your wrist. Like, working on that basic fundamental stuff. If you didn't put the effort in when you were in school, you're going to have to do it now. So you've just sort of slowed your progress. It's your fault, though.
Right.
Like, someone's not going to take your hand and put a pair of clippers in it and make you go practice, or scissors, or a razor, or whatever you want to practice. Like, whatever you want to talk about.
That's your choice. If you want to put in, we say all the time, put in the reps.
So the second, is that all for that?
That was it. Okay, I just wanted to make sure, I wanted that out there, because I think it's very important. Coming out of school, focus on the stuff you did learn, not everything you think you didn't. Done.
You could have just said that and then we would be done.
That's not as fun. I'd rather just keep talking.
So then we have the people that are like a year in, maybe 2 years in. And these people now, so your first people have zero confidence for the most part. And most of these people now have this sort of, not sort of, take that out. I'm not going to edit it out.
Control Alt Delete.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have
inflated
all the confidence, or they think they have.
They've taken an online blonding course.
Yep.
They've
watched all the videos.
They've got their really big brand certification. I'm not naming any brands, but you know exactly the two I'm talking about. One's white and one's blue. Yeah, they stop.
Yeah.
They stop working on stuff. And then what happens is you have two routes. So you have your person that gets through that sort of valley of despair, which is what it's called on the Dunning-Kruger effect. If you look that up, it's pretty cool. But a lot of people will, or I don't even know if it's a lot of people. I don't know why I said that. But anyways, some people will come to the realization that there's a lot to learn and they are like, okay, let's dig in, let's specialize. And that's where I think for people, it could get really cool.
Yeah.
And then on the flip side, you have the people that now are 3 to 5 years in, blaming the salon, blaming the shop,
blaming everything they can.
Everything. Like, why is my career not where it should be?
Right.
Because you never had that realization that you don't know everything.
Yeah.
You've never realized that it was you all along. And if you realize it's you, that's probably the best case freaking scenario because you can change that.
Yeah.
You can change. You're not going to change everyone else.
Right.
And then, finally, the longer you go, the more years you put into something, the further away from true mastery I think you realize you are. And it's interesting because I'll talk to people like you, other salon owners that have been doing it as long as you. And I'm like, these guys don't have the confidence that, I mean, you're confident, don't get me wrong, but you don't have that confidence that kid has that's been doing it for 2 to 3 years.
It's funny. I was just talking
I didn't mean kid in a bad way. I'm just saying.
No, I mean kid. I was just talking to a fellow hair pro, Corey, shout out if you're listening. And we were just, so she's been doing hair, I think even a little longer than me. And we've kept in touch since our first job. I still cut her hair. But anyway, we were just talking, as long as we've been doing hair, how almost our minds are open to exactly what you're just saying, like everything that we don't know. And now we've been doing it so long, like her and I both are just craving to be like better and better and better and better, like more than I ever have. And then we've realized we have so much to learn. And somehow we do have this like different fight with the self-confidence that we're not having because we want to know all this stuff. It's really weird. But when I was at that 2 to 5 year, I was teaching. I thought I knew everything. Like I was so confident and yet I knew nothing. So it's funny to me to be on this other side where I'm like, I want to be better behind the chair. I want to be better at educating to my peers. I want to be better at educating on all different levels. And I'm like, I have so much to learn. It's insane to me, almost overwhelming at times.
For sure. Yeah.
And it just was interesting. We were talking about it recently and that we both were like, yeah, we feel the same way, where most people coming out would look at us and be like, well, you guys know everything, just teach me. And we're just in this different world of, I guess, kind of trying to find our new way.
It's cool. I don't know when that happens. I don't know if it's a certain amount of hours, certain amount of just time. If it's a mindset thing, I think a lot of it comes down to mindset. I think a lot of it comes down to mentorship too.
Yeah.
If you're looking up to, so say you look up to a salon and you go in and you meet the owner and you're like, this place is great, I want to work here. And that the owner's like, school only set you up for the test, I'll show you how to do it. Then that's your mindset. So that's where your mindset goes. And then all of the people that you influence, all the people that are either still in school or your friends that are like, is hair cool? Maybe I'll do hair. Those are the people that now are going to get that negative influence because you're sort of passing it down. Like in this, negative is the only word I have off the top of my head. But if you view things as negative, guess what? They become negative, and that's all you see.
Yes.
Interesting. I do agree with the whole blaming schools thing. I'm sort of circling around, but
Well, it's an easy thing to do, right? And it makes you probably feel better about yourself. Well, it's their fault, not mine.
Let's blame school that I didn't practice the things that they showed me how to do.
Trust me, they did their job and now it's on you. And if you don't even like that piece of advice, well, it's the real deal. And think about it. Like, I didn't get where I am 25 years in blaming school. I don't think I ever blamed school, because if you're coming out of school, here's the thing. You know how to foil and you didn't. Maybe you don't do it well, but that's because you're so new at it. You know how to
need the reps.
Do a haircut. Maybe you're not good at it, but you didn't know how to do that before. And yeah, now you have to build on that. That's part, and any career you do, you get out of school and you have to work on whatever you're doing. Like that's whether you go to college, whether you go, whatever you do, it does not matter. You don't come out and you're just really great at something. Like, that's a rare thing to have happen.
Yeah, no, and it's across any field. Like when
field.
When you say you become a lawyer, you're not going into trial. You're not going to go into trial and
I've
kick
even
everyone's ass.
said to people before, if you look at, okay, so let's say college, for example. College is 4 years, right? Hair school, if you do it quickly, like full time, it's maybe a year. It's actually a little less. So you have now 3 years to start and build your career and learn all the stuff, which is exactly what you'd be doing with those 3 years in college. So if you look at a 4-year period, your first year is your school, your 3 years is building and learning and getting as much education as possible. So when you come to year 4 and your friends are just coming out of school, your career should be taking off. You should be making decent, if not really great money, with a pretty solid clientele, ready to go and loving what you do. And your friends now are just getting started. But that's a 4-year period. And most people want it like next day. But it's not next day. And you have now after you get out of school, the next couple years to really effort on everything you need to learn to be successful. And if you didn't do that, well, then you should start today. Go pick up a pair of scissors and start working on some haircuts. Like, you got to start someday.
It's not too late to change that. And you can progress really quickly. Like,
absolutely.
Just work on your fundamentals.
Mm-hmm. Just stop blaming and start taking responsibility.
Don't be too proud to grab a mannequin and practice something.
Yeah, I still do.
I know you do.
It's like fun.
I think, and I'm not trying to get too crazy here, but I think some of this is cultural, because we are so used to just instant gratification now.
Yeah.
Like, you can jump on an app and see what somebody's doing on the other side of the world that you know, or that you don't know even.
Right.
And you can do that instantly. You don't even really have to schedule things anymore. You just hit FaceTime and
just go.
People answer. Like,
And I think the other part of this too is, like, you see somebody that's like, I know people see my work, right? So like, I'm doing something and I make it look so easy. And especially when I teach, they think when they take the comb and they go to do it, it's just going to be as easy for them. They don't realize all of the reps I've put in to get where I am today. So
of course.
Then when they take it, like, why is it so difficult for me? I'm like, you just got started. I've been doing this for 25 years. I've been doing it for, most often, the people I'm teaching, the whole time, like, they've been alive as my career. And they're like, oh, when you put it that way. I'm like, yeah,
Whoa, what other way can we put it?
A little stab to my heart, but that's the truth of it. So, you got to put in that amount of, not maybe as much as me. It depends. Like, you could put in more effort than I did and get ahead a lot faster. But that's up to you as to how fast you want to get there.
And it circles back to the realization. Like, you have to realize this before you can start.
Yeah.
No one's going to just change how they behave or change how they behave. Well, I guess their behaviors. Yeah. Their actions and habits. You're not just going to randomly change those until something pops up.
Right.
And we've been open for 3 years.
Yes.
And 2020. So pandemic, shout out. And I've already, so being in the industry for that long, I've already seen a ton of people that just like hop around. They're jumping salons, and I don't have a problem with that. But like, knowing some of the people, I'm like, these people haven't realized that it's them.
Right.
They're not happy because they're not happy. It's not that they were at Hello and they left because they've already left 3 salons after that.
Correct.
Like in the last 2 years. And it's like, at what point does someone realize it's them? They're probably not listening to podcasts and trying to get better at stuff. So I don't know. We talk about this a lot though. Like, how do we help? How do we help people? So if you're listening and you are like, I'm not happy,
You're in control. You're driving that car.
Yeah.
And you got to figure out what it is. If it's not, like, that's why we like mentoring people, because if you're not happy and you don't even know why, we could do a call with you and help you figure that out and have a strategy to get you where you want to be.
I love when we talk to people and like we'll work it back and keep working it back, and all of a sudden they realize they're not happy because of something that's in their control.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's like
a light goes off and like, holy crap.
I can change this if I just do this and this. Yep. I'm like, yeah, just don't use the word just like that. Like, because it's going to be work.
Yes. Yeah, it is.
And it's new. So it's not going to be work you're used to doing.
Correct,
it's going to be
which
new
makes
stuff.
it uncomfortable, which is why most people stop right when that gets a little uncomfortable and they don't progress through that because it's not easy.
No, it's not easy. None of this is easy.
Yeah. But that way you feel on the other side, it's really amazing when you're so proud of yourself and you push through things to get the stuff that you want or the vision that you have for your future. That's where you really feel like you're patting yourself on the back. But you've put in the work if you've gotten to that point.
Yeah, I think I think last week when we recorded, I used the term red flag, and I hate that. But I think a red flag like should be, if you realize you're blaming others, that like have that be a trigger to you, an alarm or something. Like come up with a way that when you blame somebody else for something,
then ask yourself, why am I doing that?
Like it can be the silliest stuff, but there are people that like go to a restaurant, right? Order a dish. It comes out wrong. And they go, every time I come here, this happens.
Then why do you keep going?
Why do you keep going there? It's your fault. You had the choice to not go there. It's the same thing with the school thing. And it's the same thing with changing, like, changing salons. People think like, oh, if I just change my environment and that might be it. But if it's like, I just shook my hands for people that, well, we're not recording this, so nobody can see me, but I was like, that's not it. Like I was shaking someone's shoulders. If you, if you're blaming a place and you leave and you're having the same issues, maybe realize that it's you. I know I'm pounding this, but that's so true.
It's a big deal. I'll tell you a quick story.
Your happiness is your responsibility.
Exactly. So I was at my second salon and there was a lot of things going on there that I didn't understand because, you think it's sometimes as a stylist when you're at a salon, you know everything, but you don't have a fucking clue. Anyway, so I was miserable and I had tried to express my miserableness, but no one was listening. So I remember I would wear for a couple months, like these I Quit socks. I'd put them on every day because they made me smile.
I remember this.
Yep. And I'd walk up to that door and walk myself in, but I just kind of smirked because my I Quit socks were on and eventually I'm going to I quit, I guess. And then one day I'm like, what am I doing? So I quitted. Like I quit. See ya. And I went to the next salon. I get to the next salon and it's way fucking worse than that other salon. And I'm like, okay, what am I doing here? And I realized how much I actually missed the other salon. And I started to sort of realize at that point, my ego was getting in the way of these salons. Like I thought I was entitled to something. I thought they weren't giving me enough when none of that was happening. I was just being an egotistical little fuck.
All right.
But anyway,
you said it.
I did. I think the point of my story is you are in control. And I had to realize at that point, like, okay, what change am I going to make? Because I love what I do. I love doing hair, but what's going to fit me best and whatever. And I had to search through that. And that's not always easy. Looking back, I'm surprised I didn't go back to the other salon and ask for my job back because that might have been a great thing, but the leaving didn't go well. But anyway, I think
is part of that ego as well. Like
I'm sure definitely was.
It sucks to put your tail between your legs
and have just been like, I really should stay here. Yeah. But I wouldn't be where I am today. Maybe if I did that. But if you're in a situation where you're like, I'm just not happy, you do have to look at yourself and it's yours to take control of and figure out if you want to have a hard conversation with the salon you're at or barbershop, or it's time for that. Maybe you've done that a bunch of times and it's time to move on, which that's not easy either. But at the end of the day, you are driving your career and it's up to you to figure out how to get it to where you want it to be.
Yeah, I don't know if I have anything else to add there. Maybe we should wrap on that. Yeah. I think that's great.
We're here if you want to do some work on getting to where, if you're running into like, why am I not happy or what am I missing here where I'm at? Like we can help through that stuff too. But
You know what's funny? We're like, let's end this, and then we keep talking. That always happens.
Yeah.
Anyways, I was just thinking we have somebody that we were working with. I think I might have said this also, but they were starting to get all over the place with stuff, and I'm like, you need a break. Take 1 week. Don't do anything. And they were like, what? And I was like, take 1 week. I told you, clear as day. Take 1 week. Don't do anything. Don't work on your business. Don't work. Like, just clear your head.
Yeah.
And then you can come back and attack that stuff. But
yep, that's a good piece of advice too.
So yeah, that's my piece of advice at the end there. After we already said we were ending.
Peace out.
All right. Hit us up if you want to chat.
Yep. Have a great day.
All right. Bye.